What was taken from us can be returned. What was lost will be remade. Celestians are back. But unfortunately just homebrew style. That's the best we've got for the moment. So here is the index card datasheet for the Celestian squad, made by me. It sort of looks a bit professional. It sort of looks like it's right. There's a little bit that's different. This would be a squad of 5, because then we can actually take units of 5 again, going up to a squad of 10. For every 5 models in the unit, you can take 1 special weapon and 1 heavy weapon. So a special weapon would be the Artificer Stormbolter, the Flamer, or the Melter Gun. The heavy weapons would be the Heavy Bolter, the Multi-Melter, and the Flamer. The reason it's for every 5 in the squad, rather than just being set at you get 1, much like the Battle Sisters, is so that from the Battle Sister box of 10, which still says on the website, this can be built as Celestians, will let you make a squad of 10 with 2 heavy weapons and 2 special weapons because the box comes with a Heavy Bolter and a Heavy Flamer. If you want the multi-melter option, I've had it suggested in comments and I second this opinion myself, that you could cut the flame jets off of the Heavy Flamer and replace them with melter gun barrels from the actual melter guns that you get in the set. You get 4 melter guns, so even if you wanted 2 melter guns, a multi-melter, the Heavy Bolter, you would still have enough parts for all of them. I didn't want the squad to have more flamers or melter guns than the Dominions, so that Dominions would still have a role, and it wouldn't just be, oh, they're like Celestians but they scout. This is always the worry when creating a new unit, that it would take over from another unit. So I've also had 1 heavy weapon per 5 so we don't take over from the Retributors as just a heavy weapon squad. The profile here at the top was the easiest thing to do, because it is exactly the same for pretty much every Battle Sister unit. 6-inch move, toughness 3, 3+ save, 1 wound, leadership of 7, and then an OC of 1. That is the same as Dominions, Celestian Sacrosancts, Retributors. They are all a woman in power armor. Then the exception is the Battle Sisters, who have OC of 2. As Celestians are not going to be a battle line unit, kept it at OC1. Their background fluff was also very easy to write because it is exactly the same background fluff as the Celestian Sacrosancts. I just skipped out the words that say they don't serve as a bodyguard, which makes it extra confusing how the Celestian Sacrosancts have a Sworn Protectors rule, which very much makes them the bodyguard. So this Celestian squad is here to serve as bodyguards, as that has been their role since their sort of induction in 2nd edition. For special rules, I didn't want the squad to be generating miracle dice or command points, even if it was only happening on a 4+, because that was a Battle Sisters job. And if you were getting a command point on a 4+ from a squad of 5, that makes it more efficient than like the Genestealer Cult Neophytes. I want to keep this at the current level. One of the pitfalls of homebrew units is to just make something that is absolutely amazing. And I don't want that. I want it to fit in with the current Battle Sister Index, right down to being slightly inefficient. I want the Celestians to protect characters and shoot, not protect objectives. We'll leave that for the Battle Sisters. These want to be a shooting version of the Sacrosancts. I considered having the squad hitting on a 2+, because in 9th edition, if they had a character within 3 inches, the Palatine or the Canoness, then they got +1 to hit. However, in every previous version of the Celestians, they haven't had this ability. They've just been a squad that hits on a 3+, and making them hitting on a 2+ just made them far superior to any other shooting unit that we have that's infantry. There would be no reason to take Retributors or Dominions or Battle Sisters, really, when the Celestians are an option if they were hitting on a 2+. So I left them hitting on a 3+, the same as every other Battle Sister. You will note from the bolt gun, they are rapid fire 2. Just like the Dominions were, before they were patched out to say, oh yeah, this was an error. And it also makes them a bit like the Space Marine Stern Guard, but not quite Space Marine good. The Stern Guard gets 2 shots and rapid fire 1, so it seems fair that the Celestians would get 1 attack and then rapid fire +2. And much like the Stern Guard, these Celestians have a lot of weapon options. So every model can swap their bolt gun for a combi weapon or a Condemner bolt gun if you wanted like a whole squad that's out there hunting witches. That would look really cool. Or we can have a gun I've invented, the Trinity Gun, which is a combination of the Holy Melter, Flamer, and Bolt Gun all rolled into one. It's Strength 5, Anti-Infantry 4+, and -1 AP. It is somewhat like the combi weapon, but it does not have devastating wounds. Let's just not have devastating wounds on loads of things if we can help it. It's 1 attack and rapid fire, so again, it's a bit like what the Stern Guard have. I could have given this like 3 different profiles, but we want to keep it in line with how they're doing combi weapons in 10th edition. So in some ways, the Trinity Gun is better than a combi weapon. it has higher strength. So if you're attacking things that are toughness 4, which is still the majority of enemy units, then you're wounding on a 3+. If it's anything worse, then you have 4+. And instead of devastating wounds, which relies on rolling a 6, we instead have AP -1, which is always going to be there and is useful against any kind of infantry or tank. And a little bit of anti-tank is something, because I know the devastating wounds and the anti-infantry 4+ on the combi weapon will mean that you're doing a mortal wound on a 4+ against infantry. I wanted something that was similar, but not just throwing mortal wounds out. Though that is an option if you want to have a lot of combi weapons. And all of these weapons give you something specific. If you want anti-psyker and precision, choose the Condemner bolt gun. If you want to hit infantry with mortal wounds, yeah, combi weapon. If you want to have some AP, choose the Trinity gun. Or if you want just a lot of shots, choose regular bolt guns. I didn't want to make regular bolt guns an obvious bad choice. You could have already built your Celestians much like the regular Battle Sisters with bolt guns, and that would mean you have a squad already built with bolt guns. I didn't want there to be an obvious penalty for having it like that. The Superior also has access to all of the normal pistols that the Battle Sister Superior does, and the Dominion Superior, and you know, a lot of the other Superiors. Inferno Pistol, Plasma Pistol, Hand Flamer. So if you want my personal preference, Hand Flamer or Plasma Pistol are going to be the best ones. The Inferno Pistol just doesn't have the punch. The Plasma Pistol, when overcharged, is the same strength as the Inferno Pistol, and it has twice the range. Or you could just go with a combi weapon, Trinity gun, or Condemner bolt gun. For close combat weapons, they're kitted out much like the Seraphim, because of course you aren't taking these Celestians for their combat ability. They're not combat Celestians, unlike the Celestian Sacrosancts, so the Power Sword and Chainsword are just for the Superior. In 2nd edition, Celestians were just Seraphim with bolt guns that formed a bodyguard for the Canoness. So I just took the close combat weapon options from the Seraphim. And much like the Seraphim, the Celestians have a 5+ invulnerable save as an elite troops choice. For characters that can join the Celestians, it's any unit that could normally join a Celestian Sacrosanct unit. For the Canoness, the Palatine, Junith, Astrid and Agatha, the Dialogus, the Hospitaller, Dogmata, or a Magifier. But unlike with the Sacrosancts, the Magifier doesn't boost their armor save to a 2+, it boosts their invulnerable save to a 4+, as it does with every other unit that isn't Celestian Sacrosancts. As the Celestians are sworn protectors, their special rule gives a 4+ feel no pain to characters in the unit. It's very simple, it's replicated across a lot of other different armies as what a dedicated bodyguard unit is doing. So the Hospitaller would be giving the Celestians a 5+ feel no pain, but get a 4+ feel no pain herself. Just that special rule. We already have the war gear ability of the Simulacra Imperialis and the Cherub, much like the Battle Sisters and Dominions. Unlike the Battle Sisters, the Celestians may actually have a chance of killing an enemy unit and getting a miracle dice from that. That is very much their job. I didn't want to go mad with the special rules. The number of special rules we have are hard to remember and track, and it's very unusual to see on a unit card more than one special rule. And this Feel No Pain of 4+ is only going to affect one character, because the Hospitaller and the Magifier and others can only join a unit that has a Canoness or Palatine if it's a Battle Sister squad. So that won't apply to Celestians. If you did want a little more punch from the Celestians, do remember that much like the other Battle Sister squads, we have the grenades keyword, so we can be putting out mortal wounds that way, as well as with the massive combi weapon. As for their points, 70 points for 5. Same as the Seraphim, and the reason I put them on that level, they are meant to be the same kind of elite troops. The Celestians don't get deep strike, but they do get better guns in the deal. They're better than combat Celestian Sacrosancts, though they have a worse invulnerable save. They have ranged weapons that count for a lot compared to just combat. Now for the weapons I've given them, I am rather curious as to how you would equip them if this was an actual index card. Would you be going all combi weapons? Would you be going lots of bolt guns because of then 3 shots? Because they're not assault bolt guns, do you think they're not as good as what the Dominions would have had? Would you just go all Condemner bolt guns and try and get rid of those enemy characters? Snipe the Necron heroes from their units? Shoot the Genestealer cult characters out of their neophyte blobs? Or would you be trying out the Trinity bolt gun for the higher strength and the AP? I'm really curious as to what you put. Now the Celestians returning are not the only unit I want to see for the Battle Sisters. We'd mentioned that we would want a big cathedral tank. Something like the Fortress of Arrogance, Baneblade sized, maybe it could deep strike, maybe not, but big armoured anti-tank cannon for about 400-500 points. Then we can have a drop cathedral. While other Space Marine units are having their drop pods to get individual squads there, I want a cathedral just to land on the enemy. and transport something like 20 Battle Sisters. I say cathedral, I mean it could be quite a small cathedral. I would like to see defense turrets that are Battle Sister specific. A defense turret church. A defense turret reliquary. A lot of countries around the world have little reliquary shrines set up. You see them in Greece, you see them in Japan. Imagine having a blue plaque saying, so-and-so lived here, but it has heavy bolters attached to it. We need to be protecting these very important relics. And so I would also like to see an Order Pronatus unit. Something that defends relics, so they could defend an objective, and they could be generating command points from it, whereas the Battle Sisters are generating miracle dice. Or just transfer that particular ability over to the Order Pronatus unit, and let Battle Sisters have, the Light of the Emperor, so they never go below Objective Control 1. Then they're really good at defending objectives, or vice versa. I would like to see the return of the Fraternist Militia. Then we could have a Horde unit, a blob. Something that's going to be killing enemies. No, not killing enemies. Something that's going to be able to hold up things. And if you want an all Ministorum unit army, you're not just stuck with a couple of Archoflagellants, a couple of Crusaders led by priests. You can have actual infantry units to go with them. And I would like to see something that gives us precision besides the Condemner bolt gun. How about a sniper team? Maybe come in a squad of 3 models, each model having 2 sisters. One of them is firing the gun, the other one is just praying for the shot to hit. I think that's very thematic. So here is a Celestian unit you can try in your games and let me know how it goes. If you're in the UK and you want to buy this box and want to get it cheaper than going through Games Workshop, there is a link in the description for my affiliate link with Firestorm Games, and it helps me out in the process. If you want to know what actually has happened to the Celestians in Games Workshop's version of 40k, which I know a lot of people play, this video explains where they should have been and why they're not. Have a great day with some Celestians.